What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacqueline, for those of you that do not know. And this is Emme. Hey, I'm going to try to speak louder because I know the audio can be kind of funny sometimes. Um, we're doing my October and November wrap up because I didn't do one for October. So let's jump right in. So, first things first, make sure you subscribe. And that's it. I have a lot of books to talk about, obviously, because we're talking about 2 months. But I feel like it's less than normal. So, I only really have 17 books that I finished to talk about. So, there you go. Or no, 16 books that I finished. It's been a rough couple months. So I'm first going to talk about the books that I have started and have not finished. Because there's quite a few. I have 4 different ones that I have started and not finished. First one I have not finished is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire because it's huge. I did 2 tabs and I was supposed to read like 24, 25 pages a day, but just with the holidays and everything going on, I kind of just fell behind and never picked it back up. But I am reading this for December, as I said in my TBR. So this is definitely going to get finished. And I was supposed to read this for November. Next, I did not finish The Library of Souls by Random Riggs. This is the third or fourth book in, I think it's the third books in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And I was supposed to read this one in October. I didn't because I like listening to the audiobooks of this, so I was waiting for Libby to lend me this one. But then I took too long because this one is also very big, and I got this far about halfway before it returned itself, and I could just read it. I probably am going to just read it at some point. Definitely not in December because I already have a very full TBR, but maybe next year. Next thing is When the Moon Was Ours. I was supposed to read this in October and I got this far. More than halfway through. This is what I have left. And I could just finish it. My problem with this, it was like, it just was not holding my interest. So I had no reason to pick it up. I do want to finish it though because I'm trying to read her books in order, and this is the second one. So until I finish this, I cannot continue. And she just came out with her 5th one. It's not a series or anything. I just wanted to read hers in order. Um. So yeah, I'm maybe gonna pick this up in December. Who knows? Maybe not. We'll see. If not, definitely next year. Next book I have not finished is Pride and Prejudice. For Pride and Prejudice, I don't have a bookmark because I am listening to the audiobook. Um, there's no excuse for this. It's just really long. But I will finish this in December for sure because one of my Christmas books is based on Pride and Prejudice, so I have to finish this so I can read that one. So I will also be reading this in December, even though I didn't tell you in my December TV. Next, all right, let's talk about the books that I read in October. So I read With the Fire on High. I don't have the book because I lent it out, but I read With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. You already know how I feel about this. It was 5 stars. The next book I read was The Call of the Wilds by Jack London. This is a classic, and the cover is beautiful. I had no idea what this was about going in, and then I read that when I started reading it, I was like, hold on, this is from a whole dog's perspective. Like, What is happening? I didn't like this at all. I gave it 3 stars just out of respect, honestly. And the ending, or not the ending, but a little bit before the ending was really nice. The actual ending was horrible. There's a lot of brutality in it, and I just didn't like it. But I did give it 3 stars, like I said, out of respect, because it is a classic. Next, is Lilac Girls by Martha Kelly. Martha Hall Kelly. I loved this book. I can't wait to read the second one. This is a historical fiction that takes place around, like, at the start of World War II, and at and like kind of in the middle and towards the end. And it does talk a little bit about the Soviet Union after the Second World War. And I know we follow one girl who went to a concentration camp because she was trying to like work against Hitler, and she actually got her mother and her sisters also thrown in the concentration camp because they didn't know what's going on. And then another girl that falls in love with this guy from Paris who he ends up getting involved somehow, and she's an actress and he's an actor. And then there's a third girl, but I can't really remember because I read this a couple months ago. But it's really, really good. It is big, but I got through it and I loved it, and I'm gonna read the second book and I can't wait. Definitely next year. This is not happening this year. Next, I read the Book of the Unknown Americans. I have a whole video on this, which is I will link somewhere up in the cards, as well as the Fire on High. I also have a whole video about that one, which I will link in the cards. Next, I read Little Men by Louisa May Alcott. I'm sorry, I keep looking out the window because it's supposed to snow today, and I'm just watching out for it. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, this is one of the sequels, and it basically follows Jo and her husband. Rory makes an appearance, and it's basically she started like a home for little boys who misbehave or don't have families or whatever the case may be, and she's kind of like the motherly figure in this. um I did not enjoy this. I wish I did. I gave it 3 stars. So yeah, no. Okay, next thing I read in October was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This was my favorite. Um, this was my favorite Harry Potter so far because it had absolutely nothing to do with Lord Voldemort, which I feel like he's kind of like a second main character. But not him specifically, but just like his presence is always there. This one more focused on Harry finding out more about his parents and his history, meeting his godfather. I don't know if that's a spoiler. And just really finding out more about his parents' past when they were in the school. Sorry, you can see my blanket, but it's cold. Um, yeah, that's it. So this was my favorite. I did, of course, give this 5 stars because it's Harry Potter. Like, come on. Next, I read The Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. And honestly, this was one of the most disappointing reads of this year just because my hopes and my expectations were so high going into this that I was highly let down. It's not a bad book. It's a really good book. Um, it just wasn't what I expected. The ending was phenomenal, though. Let me tell you that. The ending literally made the book. It was everything. And I mean, I didn't see it coming, which, I mean, good thing. This was a really disappointing book just because I expected it automatically to be a 5 star. But it was, I believe I gave this a 4 star, maybe a 3 star. I really should have prepared better for this. Next book I have is Lock Every Doorway by Riley Sager. I absolutely adore this book. Was definitely a 5 stars. Um, it's basically about this girl. You know what? I'm talking about this specific book in the video that you guys are gonna see on Saturday. So just hold on. But it is a really good book. I gave it 5 stars. It's like a thriller mystery type of thing, and it he did a really good job. I really really love this one. Okay, next is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Again, I'm going to be talking about this in the video that you guys are going to see on Saturday. But this was a 5 star. It's one of my all-time favorite books now. And it is basically a retelling of, or not a retelling, I always say retelling. No, it's the backstory of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, and I absolutely adored this book. And I literally lost my shit at the end when she said her first ever off with his head. And I am going to say that again in the video on Saturday, but like literally it was so good. And I'm rereading this, possibly in December. Okay, so that was all the books I read in October. Now we're going to talk about the books I read in November. This was the last book. I literally finished it today, November 30th. And this is The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. I still haven't given it a rating. Maybe 4 stars. Possibly 4 stars. It was a really, really good book. I literally just finished it like 5 minutes ago. And I was like, okay, now I can film my wrap up. But it was a really good book. It's basically about this guy from Iran or Iraq that goes to take a citizenship test for Great Britain. And something goes really, really wrong. That's all I can say. And there is a surprise there's like 3 big surprises that were very unexpected. And I don't understand how you do that in such a short book. Like, I literally read this in a day. And it's only like 100 pages, 108 pages. And it threw me for a whirl. And I love that. So I believe it's a 4 star, possibly a 5 star, maybe a 3 star. I don't really know how I feel about this yet. I know I like it. I know there are some things I would do differently. I can't tell you because literally from literally after page 16, after page 16 of the book, everything else would be a spoiler. So there you go. Next, I finished my trilogy. I finished the Me Before You trilogy with Still Me. It was phenomenal. It threw me through a lot of ups and downs. I got mad with the main character Lou multiple times. I got mad with her current boyfriend multiple times. But I've grown so attached to her as a character throughout these 3 books. So it was sad to end it, but at the same time, like, it was a happy ending. I feel it was a happy ending. But also, it kind of ended at, like, a point that if she wanted to go on for a 4th book, it could still happen. Which maybe she left that for if she wants to do something in the future, like authors do nowadays. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Louisa Clark. I can't really tell you much about the book because, again, it's the 3rd in a series. So, next, I reread King Lear by William Shakespeare. I initially read this in high school, and it was my favorite then. It is my favorite now. It's so freaking spectacular, and I love this book. King Lear This is a tragedy. First of all, let me start off by telling you that. This is a tragedy. I think everybody in the book dies by the end except for one, which is like, how did you survive? It's about the King Lear. He has 3 daughters. He, at the beginning of the book, he says, I'm getting old. Like, tell me how much you love me, and I will give you your dowry, pretty much. So the first 2 girls who really don't give a fuck about King Lear, they like shower him in love, and they're like, I love you more than my own, than myself. I love you more than my husband. Blah blah blah, blah, like talking all this bull. The third daughter, Cordelia, is like, in her head, she's thinking like, this is bull. Like, my sisters don't even love him. I really love him, which she really does. You come to find out throughout the book that she's the one who really loves him, but she refuses to shower him in like compliments or whatever, because she's like, they just did it and they obviously don't give anything about you. So, and he banishes her from the kingdom, and then his other daughters don't want nothing to do with him, and it's just like, hello. And he's stubborn. King Lear's super stubborn, let me tell you that much. And like, I get frustrated with him sometimes. But my favorite characters are Cordelia, and the what is it? The clown. It's not. He's not the name. The Joker. There's also a dual setting. No, a dual plot going on, where one of the dukes has 2 sons. One's illegitimate, Edgar and Edmund. I think Edmund's a bad one, or maybe Edgar's a bad one. Who told you to name both your sons with E? So anyway, one of them's a bad one. Let's say it's Edmund for now, because I think it is Edmund. And Edmund is basically framing Edgar to get him kicked out, saying that he wants to kill their father so that he can get all the royalties and stuff. And then he works with one of Lear's, or both of Lear's oldest daughters. My stepdad's on the phone if you hear him. So he works with King Lear's 2 oldest daughters to also, my heat's coming on if you hear that. So much going on. He works with King Lear's 2 oldest daughters to get his own father kicked out of the kingdom. So that's sad. And then a lot of stuff plays out, and like I said, most people die at the end. Next, I read Queenie by Candace Carty Williams. I made a whole video about this one as well, so it'll be in the cards. Next is Butterfly in Frost by Sylvia Day. I did not make a whole video about this one. I'm going to for sure though, because not this year though, next year, because this was so mind-blowing. I only gave it 4 stars because nothing can compare to like her first trilogy or her first series that she did for me personally. But this book was really, really, really good. So this is basically a book about this woman whose name, her name is Tegan. She's a famous doctor from a famous TV show or whatever. She has her own show. And she has just recently come back at the very beginning of the book from helping Ava and Gideon Cross, because the Crossfire Empire is coming out with a brand new skincare line. And I keep saying Eva and Gideon are both talked about. Only Eva makes an actual appearance in the book. Carrie's talks about Eva's best friend. And yeah, so Tegan is terrified of society. She's terrified of going out. She does all her shopping online and has it delivered to her. She has like multiple dead bolts on her front door. She's going for a walk one day with Roxy just to like get, Roxy's her next door neighbor on this side, just to get her out of the house. And there's Roxy, the town gossip. She was telling her that somebody moved in on this side of Tegan and is her new neighbor. As they're going for a walk, Tegan spots her new neighbor, who is so handsome, and he's really rude to her at first, and because she almost gets hit by a car, he saves her, that type of thing. And then like they go their separate ways, and then he comes knocking on her door, and he's like, I know you felt that sexual tension. That's how he opens it. Well, not in those words, but pretty much. And the story goes on from there. And there's a big reveal at the end that like it doesn't really make sense, and I have to go back and read the book again and like look for clues of this big reveal. But it was a really good book. So next, I read Water for Elephants. I just finished this yesterday. I loved this book. It was so good. It was so good. I think I gave it a 4 star, maybe a 5 star. Um, it was just really, really good. I don't know what to say. It's a historical fiction, kind of. Maybe it's a contemporary. It's about this old man in a nursing home. That's how we start out, right? And basically, through chapters, we're going back in time to when he worked in the circus and how he met his wife. And, you know, he kind of talks about his life throughout. And then the ending is so funny. I can't tell you what it is, but it's hilarious and I love it. And this book, like, made me cry a little bit. And then I read The Two Family House. This is definitely getting its whole other video. I'm definitely doing a video about this again next year in January, because I don't hear very many people talking about it. And it came out in 2016. So like it's been around for a while, and it's a really, really good book, and I loved it so much that I went on Goodreads and like looked for what else she wrote, and she just came out with another book, so I'm going to pick that up. But The Two Family House is about a two family house. Upstairs and downstairs, two brothers and their wives live there. One brother lives on the top, one brother lives on the bottom. The brothers have this kind of weird relationship because um, the brother on the bottom, his name is Walter, something like that. Mort. That's his name. So Mort lives on the bottom. His brother lives on the top with his wife. Mort and Rose are married. And what's the other brother's name? Mort and Rose are married. And Abe and so Mort and Rose live on the bottom. Abe and Helen live on the top. Abe and Helen have 2 boys or 3 boys. No, 2 boys, and then Mort and Rose have 2 girls. Mort really wants a girl. Mort really wants a boy. Abe really wants. Abe doesn't care, but Helen really wants a girl. So the wives end up getting pregnant at the same time. They end up giving birth on the same night, the night of this crazy storm. This is a historical fiction. The night of this crazy storm, and yeah, and Helen ends up having a girl. Rose ends up having a boy. Rose goes through what I initially thought was um, postpartum depression, but she just stays me. Like, this never leaves. This is for life. And I don't know if postpartum depression is for life, but she stays mean. At the beginning, it was postpartum symptoms. You know, she wouldn't really change the baby. She was kind of neglectful. She stayed in bed all day. She kind of put the duties off on her oldest daughter. And but she just stays mean. And to be honest, I really grew to hate Rose a lot throughout this book. And I grew to love Helen. Helen was phenomenal. She cared for both babies as her own. And then something tragic happens, and Rose is resentful to Helen. Rose has been resentful to Helen since the night they both gave birth, which before then they were really good friends. And it just goes on with the story. And at first, it's only the two couples that get their own perspective chapters individually. But then as the kids get older, the kids start getting their own chapters. And yeah, so that was that one. I absolutely love this book. This is a new favorite, just so you're aware. Next, I have For Everyone by Jason Reynolds. I believe I gave this book a 5 star, maybe a 4 star. It is a poetry book, and it's basically talking about like people like living. It's he keeps saying this is a letter for the dreamers, but not just dreamers in terms of like artists and writers and like the creative, but also the people who dream of being a doctor, who dream of being a vet, or dream of being a police officer, like practical jobs as well. Um, so, and it's really good. It's really short. I finished it really fast. This was my on my buzzword readathon TBR, and this was on my buzzword read this was on my buzzword readathon TBR, and so were two others that I didn't even get to. So that's it. Those are all the books I read in October and November. I know I usually do stats in the beginning of the video, but I wasn't really feeling it this month, to be honest. So yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys on Saturday. Make sure to subscribe and make sure to click that little bell and to click all so you'll get notifications for all my videos. Otherwise, it won't end up in your subscription boxes. And yeah, so that's about it. Like I said, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share this and any other videos on my platform that you think your people will love, and make sure to spread peace and positivity all day, every day, and it'll come back to you. And remember to keep reading. Bye.